So 16, 5, and 6. 1 is luminous intensity. If you want to be a helpful friend, underline the word source for them. 2 is candela. You could put CD for short, both lowercase letters. 3 is luminous flux. If you want to be a good friend, underline the word flow. 4 is lumen. 5, illuminance, I-L-L-U-M-I-N-A-N-C-E is what they said. I could go with illumination as well there. If you want to be a good friend, underline the word surface. 6 is lux, L-U-X, or L-X for short. 7 is a capital E equals a capital I on top of a little d that is getting squared. 8 to 10 gets pretty freewheeling here, so here's some stuff, all of which is true, some of which you might have known just from younger grades science classes. But things I wrote on my paper: color is a property of light. Prisms can create an array of colors. White light is a combination of all the other colors. Every color has a different wavelength. As we saw yesterday on that one page, red has the longest wavelength. Violet has the shortest wavelength. Colors are caused when certain wavelengths are reflected. Like my shirt looks blue because it's reflecting blue and it's absorbing all of the other colors right now. Black is caused because of the absence of color, or black is the absence of light, or black absorbs every wavelength and nothing gets reflected. White is the opposite. White absorbs nothing and reflects everything back at you. All of those things were in there somewhere. Those would all work. We're just looking to encapsulate like any 3 true things about color and light and how they're related in some way. Then from yesterday, it's electromagnetic radiation that's capable of stimulating the retina of your eye. If you didn't mention retinas in particular, I can live without retina for a day, but let's get retinas in there next time. 12, we have luminous, which gives off light, or illuminated, which reflects light. And then we have transparent, translucent, and opaque. Opaque won't transmit light. Translucent transmit light but distorts it. Transparent transmits light and does not distort it. It just goes right on through. Scoring stuff. Okay. So let's explain what this is about and then key you in on how the quiz exactly changes. So in this room, thinking about number 1, we have some luminous intensity. Where would you focus your attention to see luminous intensity? Yeah, like at the light, like at the light bulb itself. That's the source. Okay, so luminous intensity is about the light source. So the light bulb in the panels here, that's where you would find the luminous intensity. In the equation, which of these letters represents luminous intensity? It is not. 50-50. I. Which makes sense. I for intensity. What is the unit for the intensity?
The candela.
Candelas, which is CD for short. How do you think candelas got their name?
Candles.
Candles. Why candles? Thinking history of light. Not your life history, but world history.
It was the only source of light.
Yeah, it was a source of light. But what replaced that? Light bulb replaced that. But pre-light bulb days, candles were a source of light. Candles and torches and lamps that burned and things. Abraham Lincoln as a kid was reading by candlelight, like that was his light source. So candelas, CD. Where in the room would we find the luminous flux? Or if we want to go to 5 first, where we would find the illuminance. So luminous intensity is in that bulb. Where's the other one?
What if each is like on an object?
One of them's on an object. Which one would be on an object?
The,
The flux or the illuminance? The illuminance. Like on my paper, I can read my paper because light is striking my paper and I can see it. That's the illuminance. Illuminance is light hitting a surface. Light hits my table, light hits my newspaper, light hits your book, light hits whatever it hits. That's the illuminance when we hit a surface. So where's the luminous flux? All between them. So that light has to flow through the air, through the room, through space, wherever it's going through. The flow of light energy is the luminous flux. Luminous flux does not appear in the equation. Lumens do not appear in the equations. Illuminance does appear in the equation. Where's the illuminance?
It's E.
That's the E. And this is measured in lux. So when you do problems tonight, lux live here, intensities, candelas live there. D just stands for the distance. I don't think you find it surprising that the farther away you get from a light source, the dimmer it gets. I don't think that's shocking. You wouldn't take your flashlight and try to shine it from like alley to me if I'm trying to light up my paper. I want the flashlight up here. The farther you shine light sources, the more it spreads out and it doesn't help you so much. So distance is on the bottom because distance is not the friend of light. The farther distance light has to travel, the less effective it's going to be. You go out in your yard with a flashlight and want to see what's making the noise, you have to get closer to the noise for your flashlight to do much for you, probably. Question on what the words mean or where they're going in the problems. If it helps you algebra-wise, this is like it's over a 1. What can you do to solve stuff of this form? Cross multiply if you have to. If you're solving for something on the bottom, another perfectly valid trick is just flip both things before you're in the mood to solve. But there's going to be some cross multiplication kind of stuff. What else are you going to have to do to maybe get rid of some squares if they solve for some distances?
Root.
You're going to have to do some roots maybe. Could happen. Homework tonight will work from 6 to 11 off of this equation. Reading for tomorrow is 7 to 10. 7 to 10 is going to take you through history about an argument about the nature of light. Some people think light is this, some people think light is that. They argue this reason, they argue that reason. Everybody has their reasons. There are good reasons on both sides for this argument, but 7 to 10 there's going to be a history argument thing. So it ends up with a total of 11 points off of this. You'll need some scientist names. You'll need some of what they're arguing about. You'll need to know what the argument really even is over. There ends up being an equation at the end that kind of puts it all together. But there's 11 points in reading from 7 to 10. You definitely did this in physical science just because Joseph getting ready for his physical science recent quiz. It was about light and it was all this stuff was on it. So these are going to be some things that you've heard of from your physical science experiences in the past. About 11 new points. Compared to today's 11 and down just stays the same. Those aren't going to probably change ever. They'll just cruise right into the test. 1 to 6 becomes just sort of like a big open-ended kind of question. I'll ask you to name and define and give me the unit for the 3 measurements of light energy. So let's just rehearse that. So what was one of the words of today from 1 to 6?
Luminous intensity.
Luminous intensity. Keyword on luminous intensity would be
Source.
something about the source. So something like amount of light emitted from a source. Don't just say source, but structure an answer that has source as a key word in it. So like light emitted from a source would work. What's the unit for that one?
Candela.
Candela. So there's one. Another word?
Luminous flux.
Luminous flux. Keyword.
Flow.
Flow, maybe something like flow of light energy, just to get a little bit more of a phrase there. Unit for that is the least important of the units.
Lumen.
It's the lumen, L-U-M-E-N, or LM for short, if you like abbreviations. Third one,
Luminance.
illuminance, also known as illumination, whichever way you want to say it. Keyword on that was
Surface.
surface, something like the rate that light falls on a surface would work for me. Unit there is
Lux.
lux, LX. 7, the equation is still there. 8 to 10, I'll get a little bit just pickier about no, I don't yet. I'll just still continue to say, tell me 3 things about color and light. When we get to the final quiz before the test, I'll get a little bit picky on that one about specific items, about black or white or why you see certain colors, things like that. But it still continues to be, just tell me 3 things about color and light, so whatever you pick there is fine. Question about changes.
You could at least give the stuff about color and light.
Yeah, so color is a property of light. Prisms can show you an array of colors. By prism, I mean like a piece of glass you can pass something through and make your own homemade rainbow. That's a prism. There's probably a picture of a prism in the book, I would guess. Do they do that? Yeah, there they are. On 267, they're shining some light through a piece of glass and they're making a rainbow there with their equipment. White is made up of all the other colors. Every color has a different wavelength. Red has the longest wavelength. Violet has the shortest wavelength. You see certain colors because that's the color that's being reflected to your eye. Like my shirt is blue because the blue is reflecting to your eye while the rest of the colors are absorbing. Black is the absence of color. Black is the absence of light. Black is caused by everybody getting absorbed. So if every color gets absorbed and nothing gets reflected, that's black to your eye. White is if everything gets reflected and that nothing's absorbed. So your eye is like getting all the colors at once. It sees them all as white, which doesn't sound true, but it's true. You put all the colors of the rainbow together, that's white light. Anybody else? Repeat, rewind, anything like that? 1 to 5s, if you tried it, I'll help you. If you didn't try it, then I'd help you. Is there anybody 1 to 5 you tried it and you needed to help? Yeah. Any 1 to 5s? I'll tell you, you're hoping for a .0002 or 2 times 10 to the negative 4th if you'd rather. B is either a 60 kilometer or a 60,000 meter. 4 is yes. Stuff. You find what you need?
So I got, do you use one to get two?
Yeah, you use 1 to get 2A.
So how would you set that?
So what they're saying on 1 is that octagonal, first of all, what's octagonal mean, anybody? 8 sides. So they have this 8-sided mirror that's spinning 625 times per second. So I mean, that is really moving. So to make 1 revolution, it takes like this tiny, tiny, tiny amount of time. 2A, instead of making a full rotation, They just want for one of those 8 faces to slide a slot. So what fraction of a turn are they talking about there on 2A? They're not doing a full turn. They're doing what fraction of a turn? 1/8 of a turn. So you can just take the 1 answer and divide by 8, and that's the 2A answer. Anybody else get into that and get stuck anywhere? If that gets you over one hump and you get stuck again, that's what tomorrow's for. If you didn't start it yet, I guess that's what tomorrow's for.
Mr. Ozio.
Yeah.
Thing's almost dead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down to just a couple minutes on the memory card. There was 18 minutes when we started. I was hoping to make it. I think I will, because even if it cuts off now, we're not. I think we're done. Anything else homework, stuck? So we made it. Cut that off.